So hi guys, it's me again. It's been a long time since I uploaded my first video entitled Paano makakapagwork sa US ang isang Filipino CPA. Sorry, it took me 3 years to upload the second part of the video because of several things that happened in the past years. Number 1 is pagkasal. Shoutout pala sa misis kong si Monique who will be here very soon through working visa as well. So thank you sa sponsoring employer namin na si Adelphia. Thank you. Second is, I spent a lot of time reviewing, and fortunately, I got my CPA license here in the US. So expect a video in my YouTube channel about tips and tricks and the steps on how to get the USCPA license. No, and number 3, I've been inclined, or I have spent a lot of time on 4 of my favorite sports the past year: cycling, running, swimming, and badminton. So please expect also my YouTube channel to include videos about these sports. So just a recap, in the past video, or in the first video, I talked about the H-1B application process, including the steps and the timeline for an applicant to get a working visa in the US, no? Through the H-1B. Just a disclaimer, I'm not an expert, I'm not an immigration lawyer, and I'm just sharing my knowledge based on my personal experience, and I hope this will guide you also in your decisions for your career, no? So on this second part of the video, we will be talking about my responses, or I will be answering some of the questions that have been left sa comments dun sa video of the first part, and the private messages that I received through LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Okay? First question, do I need to have a USCPA license before I apply for a working visa? The answer is no. You do not need to have that license. All of the H-1B workers that I know did not have that USCPA license before they applied for working visa. However, some of the firms require that license if you want to be promoted to a certain position in the firm. For example, manager. No? Before they promote you to a manager, you need to have that CPA license. So it's not required for the working visa, but it's required by some of the firms for you to be promoted. No? Number 2, do I need to have a Philippine CPA license before I apply for a working visa in the US? The answer is no. It's not a requirement for you to get a working visa in the US. Number 3, do I need to have an experience in the Philippines before I apply for a working visa in the US? The short answer is no. It's not a mandatory requirement. However, as I discussed in the first part, the employers would be spending resources to get a foreign employee to come to the US. No? In this reason, they need to screen the applicants. They need to see qualified applicants because they'll be spending resources, and business perspective, they would want those employees with experience already in the Philippines. No, it's not a mandatory requirement, but it's necessary for you to get picked by the employers. Okay. Number 4, what type of experience do I need to get in the Philippines before I apply for a working visa in the US, or what do you suggest? No. So just a context, a BS in accountancy graduate can be employed in several fields. No, they could go to public practice, or they could practice assurance or audit, tax, or consulting. No, graduates could also go directly to private companies where they could do the accounting function or the internal audit function or other related functions in the private company. Graduates could go straight to academe, right? They could go also to government, where they could do the accounting function of the government or the audit function of the government, for example, COA, no, or any other related jobs to accounting. So there are a lot of choices, no. Let me give you a percentage of the H-1B visa holders that I know. So 90% of them came from the Philippines with an experience under assurance, public practice. 5% is from tax. 3% is from consulting. The remaining percentage had the other experiences in the Philippines. So I would suggest that if you want to work in the US, or if you want to get a working visa for the US, go to assurance public practice. Number 5, mahirap ba mag-adjust sa accounting standards ng US? The short answer is no, it's not. When I was reviewing for the FAR subject or the Financial and Regulation subject for the USCPA exam, I tried to list down the differences between USGAP and IFRS. So just a context again, or just a background. So as far as I know, all the countries follow IFRS, maski Philippines, which follows Philippine Financial Reporting Standard, which is just patterned under IFRS, and other countries use IFRS as their basis. However, US is the only country which is different. They use or they follow US GAAP, no? So I tried to differentiate US GAAP and IFRS, and there's not a lot of differences. When I was talking to the partners of the firm, I think, or we believe that experienced accountants and auditors from the Philippines have already the skill set necessary to adapt to the new standards and the differences between these standards. So it's not that hard to adjust. Alright, so number 6. How many years of experience do I need to have in the Philippines before I apply for a job in the US? So personally, I had a 2-year working experience in the Philippines before I applied for a working visa. The same with my batchmate, who is now also a manager in the firm. So I would suggest you have at least 2 years. So for you to have that skill set also to adjust to the working environment in the US. Number 7. How does working in the Philippines differ from working in the US? This is a very good question. So I could say that my job in the Philippines before is far busier than what I do now. So it's more working in the US, I can say it's more laid back. You have much free time. You have much more free time. Before, when I was working in the Philippines, I was staying up until 12 midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., especially in busy season. I also tried working 24 hours straight. So that's how busy I was then. So in here, it's seldom that I render overtime for my work. So it's basically more laid back, and you have more time for other things to do. Number 8. Is the increase in salary commensurate with the increase of expenses? So the short answer is yes, it is. Let's talk about first the salary increase. So when I moved to the US, when I changed my employer from Philippines to the US, I'll give you a range. My salary increase is like 5 until 10-fold. Decrease 5 times to 10 times. It's in between that range of the salary. For my expenses, it's somehow similar. Let's say 5 to 10% also. So if your salary increased times 5 times 10, then your expenses increased times 5 to times 10, then your savings would be increasing also times 5 to times 10. So basically, it's really commensurate. The salary increase is really commensurate of the increase in expenses. Okay? So we're down with the most interesting question. How can I find an H-1B employer? And I would like to share 2 answers to this question. Number 1 is maintain a connection with those colleagues who are already employed under H-1B employer or any US employer, because there's a big chance that they could refer you to their employer. For me, I found Adelphia, my current employer, who sponsored my working visa and my green card through a friend who referred me to the company. The second answer to that question is performing a Google search. So it is easy to search for a list of H-1B employers, specifically for accountants and auditors in Google. You could see a list of those who have employed H-1B employees the past year. Then you could try to visit the career page of those employers and then send your resume. Okay? So those are the questions that have been raised to me through the comments on YouTube, through private messages in LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And I hope my answers help you decide on your career and on your decisions. So good luck!